remember visiting a missionary who had been threatened repeatedly for preaching the gospel. Armed men had surrounded his village. Escape was.
This audio is synthesized using AI technology from vb.vn.
Impossible. That night, instead of fleeing, the community prayed. The following morning, the attackers had vanished without explanation. No shots were fired. No confrontation occurred. The missionary later told me, "Father, it felt as if something stood between us and them." Faith does not claim to explain every mystery, but it recognizes patterns. God still protects his servants in ways that defy human calculation. The story of God sending angels to protect his prophet teaches us three essential truths. First, God's protection is real even when unseen. Second, fear is often born from spiritual blindness rather than actual defeat. Third, prayer aligns us with divine reality rather than changing God's will. Elisha did not pray for the enemy to disappear. He prayed for his servant to see correctly. This distinction is crucial. Many believers pray for circumstances to change when God desires first to change perception. When we see with eyes of faith, we discover that we are not as alone as we imagined. This truth finds its fulfillment in the mission of Jesus Christ. When Christ stood before his accusers, abandoned by his disciples and surrounded by hostile power, he declared that he could call upon legions of angels if he wished. He did not do so, not because the angels were absent, but because his sacrifice served a greater redemptive purpose. Even in apparent defeat, heaven remained attentive. This reminds us that angelic protection does not always mean immediate rescue. Sometimes it means strength to endure, courage to remain faithful, or peace that surpasses understanding. God's army does not exist to guarantee comfort, but to safeguard God's plan in our own lives. We often stand like Elisha's servant, overwhelmed by what we see, convinced that danger has already won. Anxiety, illness, persecution, and uncertainty can feel like surrounding armies. Yet Scripture invites us to pray the same prayer: Lord, open my eyes. Faith does not deny reality, it reveals a deeper one. I once counseled a young man who felt crushed by fear for his family's future. Economic instability, illness, and conflict surrounded him. He told me, "Father, I feel exposed." Through prayer and reflection, he slowly learned to entrust what he could not control. Years later, he returned and said, "Nothing became easier, but I became stronger." That is often how angelic protection manifests, not by removing the battle, but by ensuring it does not destroy us. The angels who protected Elisha did not strike the enemy down immediately. Instead, God blinded the attackers and led them away without bloodshed. This reveals another profound truth. Divine